Greetings to you all. For today's devotion, let us read from Psalm 20. Psalm 20. How do you get ready for some great challenge in your life? Now, this challenge could be a conflict in your life, or a major surgery in one of your family members, or any big problems or any dangerous circumstances you're going through. In our children's home, we always used to pray before we go to school or before we go for a long tour or anywhere. We would always pray before we start our journey. Now, before battle, it was customary in Israel and Judah to pray to the Lord and to seek an answer from Him. Thus, Jehoshaphat prayed before his battle with Ammon and Moab. Then a Levite responded them, and then all the people worshipped. That we see in 2 Chronicles 25-19. Psalm 20 seems to come from a similar situation like 2 Chronicles 20, and to be intended as a song to be sung before a battle. Now the people here are on the eve of a great battle. People are preparing to go for a great battle. And the temptation is to look to military might as their hope. Verse 7. If you're going for a war, you have to have a great military. You have to have a great army. So that was the temptation for David's soldiers and David's people. Now what we see there, instead of looking to the military power and military number, they look to the Lord and to the King He has sent them in verses 1-6. You see how easy for us to place hope in similar things like family or money, doctors, programs, and many other things. Now Christians look instead to their anointed King, Jesus. God always answers Him and honors His sacrifice. Hebrews 10:1-22. The first 5 verses of the Psalm 20 begin with a blessing from David, illustrating his complete understanding of where our true strength, victories over sin, and everything our heart desires as Christians comes from. And oftentimes we are prone to forget this. If we are in trouble, call out to the Lord for help. If we are weak, discouraged, depressed, or overcome by our circumstances of life, call out to the Lord for help. Because of the Lord's great love for His true saints, true children, He is always available to help and guide us in the way we should go. Understanding this brings us to that glorious testimony of David found in verse 7. He says, "Some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we will remember the name of the Lord our God." What a great testimony from David, King David. What things do we as people in the first century turn to instead of turning to God? The psalmist was really thinking of military strength. What then do we trust in military? It seems as though this world is on a third quest to see which country can own or control the most nuclear weapons. Now, does that mean that God is obsolete, or God is not in control, or God is of no use? No. God is just as powerful and just as much in control in the 21st century as He was in the time of the writer of this psalm. Therefore, pray today that God will surround you with an awareness of His constant presence and peace, and that you would cry out to Him for help, even in the small things. God cares so much for His children that no request or no prayer is too small, and no child of God is too unimportant for Him to hear and answer. What an amazing God we have. Therefore, trust Him. In this pandemic, do not lose your trust. He may seem He is late. Then we are reminded of the story of Lazarus. Before he was dead, when he was sick, his sister sent message to Jesus, but then Jesus did not react immediately. But then Jesus came back to restore Lazarus when it was already 4 days. His body was dead for 4 days. And Jesus came and reacted or responded to that, to her prayer. So we may feel that this pandemic has been long for 60 days and 70 days. All the Christians have been praying and there's no answer. But this psalm teaches us to keep your trust still in that true living God. Amen.